Last week we road tested the Genesis G70 sedan, and that is the car that has the least sales for Genesis here in Australia in 2024. This week we're testing the GV70, same number, but this is a SUV. Now, is there a big difference? It's a huge difference in the car, and why are the sales different? It's not just because it's an SUV or that it's got orange seatbelts. There's a whole range of factors. Let's have a look. The front is, as you would expect, similar to the sedan, but with a taller grille, being an SUV. The same multiple lights that you can see, very impressive, and an indication of how lighting has changed. On the side there is the large brakes, very large brakes with Genesis written on them clearly. Down the side, not a lot of angles, although a fairly strong waistline here to emphasize the car, and it diverges into two here to give a sort of almost arrow shape with a tail out the back. Now, around the back, some say that this has been around for a while and needs a change. It's got a bit of a fastback, but it's not too exaggerated. Looks almost a little bit like a hatchback. And we have the fact that it is a four-wheel drive and a 3.5 litre turbo. It doesn't appear to be as aggressive as the sedan. Now, of course, you have to be aware of the intricacies. You don't want to look like an idiot looking for the thing to do. It is, of course, a button. Opening up to a pretty sizable thing in the back. Plenty of anchor points for the kids. And obviously, it's not a seven-seater, thank heavens. It'd be useless if it was. And we have our there is one annoying thing. You can lock the doors, and that's fine, it locks, but if you walk away and you come up to the car, it will open there. Now, sometimes you used to press this here, but you do that and you're in deep trouble, because if you press that, it locks, and now it won't, well, it will unlock. No, it won't unlock. Well, you've got to keep pulling at it and yanking at it. I've got to get used to its idiosyncrasies.
If you value independent journalism or simply enjoyed the video, please support the channel by hitting like and subscribe.
The first thing you notice when you get into this is a very bright environment. The sedan had richer, darker tones to it. This has obviously much more lightness about it and a bit of fanciness, as I said, about the colour of the seat belts. And when you turn it on, immediately you get this 27-inch screen. In fact, it's still divided into two. It's just you don't see the division. The great thing about it is, in front of the driver, it's not overcomplicated with information. Some of the Hyundais had an immense amount of information, which meant that it was in very small font, and so you were struggling to understand what each meant. symbol or number really meant. And you ended up with either getting your reading glasses, which you then had to try and take off, or multifocal lenses. It became a critical element of any road test. The general layout, now when I was growing up, one has to adapt to change. I was very proud of being able to move from horsepower and foot-pounds of torque to kilowatts and newton meters. Now there's an infinite more number of symbols and letters, particularly in road safety, but also in terms of screens. This is an OLED instrumental display. And what that means is that the OLED diodes don't need backlighting or diffusers. We have here for the temperature and things, which of course is called HVAC. That is heating, ventilation and air conditioning. It's a touch button. I prefer knobs and dials. Oh, there is a dial for the temperature. Love that. But it is possible to do it via voice. But when I do that,
broader network searches are available with a subscription to Genesis Connected services.
so clearly I don't have connected. It says I can do things like, how is the weather?
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
How is the weather?
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Clearly I haven't got that linked like a phone to immediate things, so I can get up-to-date information. I could get up-to-date information for navigation, for example. So it's bright, it's clear, and it has a mouse-like dial. I like that. Stabbing at things, concentrating, find out what it is. I think that can be distracting. I like to be able to move it. But, and I'll show you this from another angle, it can lead to a lot of steps rather than a few steps. And I'll show that in regard to the preferred process of removing the audible warnings about the speed limit. There are other warnings, that's fine on head-up display, but the audible ones I find distracting. The thing that I've always found a bit annoying in many modern cars, and particularly in those Hyundais and Kias, has been the beeping at you when you are exceeding what it thinks the speed limit is. And there can be times when that's debatable, and there can be times when it's only just over, and that doesn't take into account the accuracy or the safety margin that you have with any car and the measurement of speed. So there are ways of which you can go into setup, go into the vehicle, and so you can go into the speed limit and speed limit warning you want, but you don't want the sound warning methods. I want haptic, but I don't want speed limit. Now you notice that immediately that's quite a few steps. Something to do before you start, because you don't want to be doing it as you're driving along. This gives me a speed limit change notification. I like that. By the way, from a safety point of view, there are things on the head-up display. The speed limit symbol will flash at you if you're exceeding the speed limit. So turning the sound off doesn't remove some opportunity to tell you that you might be doing the wrong thing. Now, if that's the case, can you do it with this little mouse? See, I like that mouse. I like being able to check and move across. I can very easily do it. I don't have to keep looking down. I might be here and say I've got to move across 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't have to look all the time. But it does become a bit excessive with the concern that I have in turning off the sound for the speed warning. I have to do it this way. But you'll say, oh, it's extreme. You get used to it. It's a bit like learning the dance steps by numbers and by position. So I've got this now in my favorites. It goes straight to there. I go across 1, turn 2, enter speed limit, across left, turn 1, over here, across right, go down 1, turn and enter. And now I've changed it back again. Ah, you say, that's extreme. You know what, I learnt it. And if I get used to a car, I think if I made a mistake, I'd prefer to be doing it on memory, cross, cross, turn, turn, than I would by trying to stab and remember what that is. Now, quite rightly, it beeps at you when you get close to something up the front and gives you some very clear indication. But when I go into reverse gear, it still beeps when I don't need to know what's happening up there. First world problem. This is the 3.5 litre turbo engine, which I found in the sedan didn't have a very linear feel to the accelerator, and you got to a point where it's just suddenly surged. This seems a bit that way, but not as pronounced. Maybe that's just me getting used to it. My colleague thought that being an SUV, it might be noisier inside because it is a cabin where the noise can bounce around more. But they've done a lot of work to make it quiet, and I think it is significantly quieter than the sedan. What work they've done includes white noise, making some sound waves that deaden out the sound. They've even added to the weight and the damping of the steering wheel so that it doesn't put vibrations through as much. They've done the gearbox, so again it doesn't do vibrations. They've done little bits on the gearbox. The suspension, they've got some hydraulic bushes. And then on the wheels, with the 21-inch wheels, which we have, even though they're low profile, apparently they have a hollow system that reduces sound or road noise, consistent, they say, with the Helmholtz principle. Yeah, that's significantly different. It's still not as quiet, perhaps, as it might be. The low profile tyres may be having their impact. But I think it's much better, and on the smooth surface, it's a beautiful ride. I'm doing 90 or so, maybe build up to 100k. Here comes the rough. The low profile tyres means that where it's hitting joins in the road, you're tending to get a bit more of a thump.
Have your own thoughts? We'd love to hear them. Good, bad, or in between. Have a chat with us by dropping a comment below.